Hey guys, my name's Justin and welcome to Hellsborough, where we care about the design behind designer luxury. Today I'm going to review the small Loewe puzzle bag in tan and black leather with silver hardware detailing that was part of the Studio Ghibli collaboration for the movie My Neighbor Totoro with marquetry Soot Sprite details. This specific bag was a partnership with Studio Ghibli, but I will be talking about it in the most general sense. I'll probably speak a little bit to some of the details that you get from a special bag like this. I know that there are some bags that come out with Paula's Ibiza, or some of the other regular seasonal bags that they come out with. But in general, I'm going to talk about this as if it is a regular old puzzle bag. Quick note, I do have a bag charm attached to it. This did not come with it, so I'm not going to really talk about this in the review, but I just want you to know, like, it does not come with any sort of like charm or anything like that. So for my bag reviews, I like to focus on 5 categories: design, durability, comfort, investment value, and attention grabbing. So starting with design, the puzzle bag came out with Jonathan Anderson's premiere collection with Loewe. Let's start talking about the form. What I love about this bag is that it's not a typical like rectangular shape that you would find from a bag, and it's also not some crazy shape that you would see from some of the other brands. It's not completely out there and completely unusable or difficult to use. Really, the shape of it is still very cubic, but it has a lot more character, I think, especially when it comes to like these joinery lines and from the way that the leather just wraps around as well. One of my favorite things about this bag is actually how soft the leather is. The leather that they use at Loewe is something else. This is one of my bags with like the softest leather, and I actually love just like touching it, which I'm sure like is very strange for everyone who's watching this video, that I'm just like rubbing my bag, but I love it so much. And that extends to the handle as well. So I actually love the handle because the seam is towards the back. It's not on the bottom or on the top, and rather it is in a place where it makes sense. So when you're holding the bag like that, your fingers can actually rest underneath that seam, and then the rest of your hand can hold it like that. So this is actually like a small detail that I love about this bag. And that's kind of the whole thing with the puzzle bag. It's all about the details. So starting off with some of the hardware, it's this beautiful shiny silver, and then you can see that the way that the handle's connected is actually this like twisted piece of metal. And then one of my favorite things about the way this bag is shaped is that the zipper is actually under a flap. So it feels a bit more secure. Sometimes I don't even have it zipped and I still feel comfortable about it. And then inside the flap, there's actually a lot of space in here, which I think is one of the main reasons why I love this bag. So on the inside, you can't really see it because it's black. Normally it's like I think it's like a cream colored herringbone cotton canvas, but the one I have is completely black inside, and I'll actually talk about why it's black a little bit later on. And then it also has a tag. I think it's just normally a Loewe stamp on a piece of leather, but this bag has the Loewe Studio Ghibli stamp, which, I mean, I love this movie and I love Studio Ghibli, so. And then on the inside, there's just one internal pocket, no interior zip or anything like that. So honestly, when I place my card holder in it, it sometimes falls out, but it's also like in a completely secured, like zippered bag, so it doesn't really bother me. Just trying to feel if there's anything else in here. It's a little hard to see what I'm looking for, so oftentimes with this bag, I'll just like put my whole arm in it and try to figure out where it is. But yeah, also you can see how big it is. Like I can fit all the way up to my elbow in this bag. And then on the back side, there's also a zipper. So that one's a bit smaller. You can't fit as much stuff in it, but I love that there's just a lot of parts and pieces to this bag, but it all comes together in one cohesive package. And then along with the bag, you get an adjustable shoulder strap. I have it set to the longest, even though I'm super short, just because I like wearing it crossbody most of all. And that gives it like the right height for me. I think one of the most important things for me is how practical this bag is. So because it is pretty much a rectangular shape, you can fit a lot in there. You can easily fit a phone, card holder, cosmetics. I've been able to actually fit like a mini umbrella in here, as well as a camera. I actually love being able to put my mask in that tiny zip pocket there. It's pretty much big enough just for a mask, maybe like a card or something like that. But I think really when it comes to practicality, this is one of my most practical bags. I wanted to talk a little bit about the specific details behind my bag. So, like I said, this is from the Studio Ghibli movie My Neighbor Totoro collaboration that they did with Loewe. And my bag is covered in Soot Sprites, which is one of the, I would say it's just kind of like a cute character from the movie. They don't really do too much in that movie, but I love them. The way that the Soot Sprite characters were actually placed onto the bag is not a print. Loewe actually uses a technique called marquetry, which is traditionally a woodworking technique where they would cut different types of wood into a way so that they fit together kind of like a puzzle. So they actually laser cut leather so that it fits perfectly together, and then they bond them together using, I'm assuming, some sort of leather glue. I don't need to know that part of the detail. But what I love is that they also use different types of leather, not just different colors. So the main tan is this buffed leather, black is grained, and then some of these random Soot Sprites are also suede, which I think is just so smart. And beyond that, the actual design put into where the characters are located on the bag, I think is amazing. So if you're familiar with My Neighbor Totoro, you know Soot Sprites live where people don't really visit. It's normally abandoned spaces and things like that. So to me, it's kind of hilarious that they treated this bag as an abandoned place in a way, because then if you look inside, it actually is completely black. And then when you have the zipper closed, you actually see like that's where a lot of the concentration of the Soot Sprites is coming from. And then same here. The zipper opens up on this side, so then that's where they're kind of like leaking out from. And then you have them all over, and then even a little bit on that side. So, we talked about form, we talked about function, and then we talked about a little bit of the details of this specific bag. Honestly, I'm gonna have to give this a 9.5. Really, the only thing for me is that the interior pocket, sometimes my stuff falls out of it, which like is like the least of my worries. That's why I only took off half a point, because it's really not that big a deal. But I do know for some people it would change their mind a little bit, so I just wanted to throw that in there. All right, and for the next topic, we have durability. Like I was saying before, this leather is very supple and soft and like very like squishy and like something else. Especially when I first got this bag. I use this bag a lot. I would actually say the durability is surprisingly good. I am not known for being particularly gentle with my bags. I will bump into things and people while wearing a bag that costs however many thousands of dollars. And I don't actually see any wear and tear on this bag at all, which is very impressive for me because I'm kind of a mess. I'm like actually looking now, I'm like, yeah, I don't even see like any scratches. Like there might be a scratch on this tab and it's probably from like my own nail because I'm careless and hateful. I know on the medium and the larger size puzzle bags, they have feet on here in a diagonal, which I think would have been great to have that, but I also understand the scale of this bag maybe doesn't let that kind of hardware look as nice. That being said, there's definitely a different kind of leather, or they do something to it, because while the top part is very like squishy, this bottom part is very firm and stiff. And I don't notice any kind of warping or anything like that. I'm very impressed. There's not even really any scratches on the bottom. Am I sure this is like my bag? Sorry, I'm like freaking out because I haven't actually like inspected it in a while. I've just kind of used it and enjoyed it and not really like looked at it because I didn't want to make myself sad in seeing like how many scratches there are, but there's really no scratches. I think for durability, I would actually give this, God, I feel like a 9. The only reason I'm not giving it a higher score is because I'm still afraid because the leather is so supple. I'm still afraid of like getting a scratch on it or something like that. But yeah, this is great. I'm actually surprised by myself, so The one thing is I did have to pack it in my luggage when I moved. So there's been like a little bump on the backside that like I haven't been able to get out. I don't know if you can even tell. I can tell though, and that's the problem. But there is like a little bit of like a bump from it being packed in a suitcase for like 12 hours. Like it was like smushed flat. And I can just see it and it bothers me a little bit, but I don't know. Maybe it's not so obvious for other people. The other thing is, I know a lot of people have said that the puzzle bag does not keep its shape because it is so soft. Something else. And like, oftentimes like people will see like it start to slouch like that. Which honestly, I haven't seen any slouching like that. Maybe it's because there's additional techniques being used on it and it's making it a little bit more firm. And honestly, I wouldn't mind if it got a little bit more slouchy, but I haven't had any sort of slouching like that really, unless I like do it myself. So really, for me, this is keeping its shape. The next category is comfort. So I think I mentioned earlier about the handle, like the top handle, how the seam is to the back. And your fingers can rest under there, but I think what I didn't mention is that it's actually so comfortable to carry this as a top handle bag because of that. Another nice thing too is like sometimes I will just like wear it in the crook of my arm because I don't want to put it on my shoulder or crossbody it, and I'll just wear it like that, and then you don't have that digging in as well because it's on the back. The zippers are so nice and they never snag or scratch me, and really the only thing is like just making sure I can change the way I carry the bag, which from my experience is actually something that happens with pretty much every bag unless it's like a really padded backpack or something like that. So I guess the score I would give for comfort would, I don't know, it'd probably be a 10. Yeah, it's definitely my most comfortable bag, and I don't ever really have any complaints unless I just keep wearing it in the same spot, which like you can't do that for any bag anyways. It really is just like such a joy to carry it. Like I actually love carrying it, and the fact that like the leather feels so nice is just so something else. It makes me like carrying this bag. But yeah, 10. So investment value, here's the thing. Loewe does not make investment bags. So when we're talking about the standard Loewe puzzle bag, or really most of their bags in general, as soon as it gets purchased, the next time they try to sell it, it has to be a lower price. That being said, because this is a limited edition, because this is a limited edition bag, it actually, I think, would hold its value. I think if I wanted to sell it, I could at least get the money back for it, or maybe even potentially getting more. On a normal puzzle bag, the investment value I would give to it would probably be like a 4 or 5. It wouldn't be that great because as soon as you buy it, like I said, the value of it immediately is cut if you ever needed to resell it. But then for this one, because it is limited edition and it was one of, if not the most sought after piece from that collection, this one I would definitely give an 8. It's definitely not like one of those hype bags where you could immediately resell it for like twice the price, but I could at least get like the value back for sure. Alright, and the last category is attention grabbing. Normally, the Loewe puzzle bag is a very like under the radar bag. It's very much like, if you know it, you know it. If you don't, you don't. Which I think is one of its strengths, honestly. That being said, having a bag with a bunch of little furry characters all over it definitely catches people's attention, and especially if they know what Studio Ghibli is and who the Soot Sprites are, then it absolutely catches their attention. I definitely like shared this online and people love the characters and people ask me questions about it all the time. But as far as in person, I've only actually had one person come up to me and tell me how much they loved my bag, which was great because I've gotten compliments on other bags before, but it was more like, oh, I love your bag, something like that, blah, blah, blah. But then when I talked to this person, she was actually like, oh, I love Studio Ghibli, I love the Soot Sprites, and I love this bag, I really wanted it, blah, blah, blah. So for me, it almost felt a little bit more personal of a compliment. So I actually really enjoyed that part of it. And it made it more special too. It wasn't just like everyone who saw it was like, oh, interesting, oh, blah, blah. It was more like someone who like knew what Loewe did, who knew what Studio Ghibli was able to show like appreciation for just like seeing it in real life and actually like, you know, I let her like look at it and touch it and things like that, of course. I don't know, it meant a lot to me. So for attention grabbing, I would honestly give it like an 8.5. No, let's make it a 9. It's a 9. Because like that just was really cool, and I love that like I can show this stuff to people online as well, and you know, to get that kind of attention for it is awesome. Alright, so the final score is a 45.5. So we got basically like an A-, which like, perfect. Everything about this bag, I love it, and I highly recommend a puzzle bag. So that is my review for the small Loewe puzzle bag from the, whatever, I said it before. So if you liked this video, please like and subscribe. It lets me know that you like this kind of content and that you too care about the design behind designer luxury. Until next time, say bye. He's saying bye. Oh, he's also saying to subscribe. Oh, and to watch my next video, so yeah, thank you.